Welcome back to our channel. Today we begin a brand new series on one of the most popular and foundational books in psychology, Psychology by Robert A. Baron. If you are a psychology student, a counseling professional, or simply someone who loves understanding human behavior, this series is going to help you build a strong base in psychology, step by step. Before we dive into the chapters, let me tell you why this series is important. Robert A. Barron's book is known for very clear explanations, real life examples, scientific yet simple language covering everything from basics to advanced topics. My goal in this series is to make these concepts easy, practical, and useful for you, whether for exams, teaching, counseling, work, or for personal growth. Throughout the series, we will explore what psychology really is, not just textbook definition, but real meaning. Research methods, how psychologists study behavior scientifically, biological basis of behavior, which concerns the brain, hormones, nervous system, etc., sensation and perception, that is how we experience the world, learning and memory, that is how we learn, change, and remember things, intelligence, personality, emotion, stress, and all the core areas that deals with the cognitive aspect, personality aspect, the stress, the worry, the anxiety, social psychology, that which is about how people influence each other, abnormal psychology and therapy, where we understand disorders and treatment, and applied psychology, where we know how psychology is used in education, counseling, health, workplaces, relationships, and more. So we'll break each topic down into simple modules exactly the way Robert Barron has explained it, but in everyday and simple language. Every episode will include key concepts, simple examples, applications in real life, exam oriented notes, and a quick revision or summary at the end. By the end of the series, you'll be able to understand psychology not just as a subject but as a practical skill for life. Now, let us start with a basic understanding of the book today and what it aims to cover. So, the author in the beginning talks about psychology, which is a new perspective on human behavior. So, as you understand, psychology provides a new way of thinking of human behavior, one that is grounded in scientific methods and critical thinking. So, by understanding the scientific foundations of psychology, we gain valuable tools for examining human behavior in a more sophisticated way. And throughout this book, the author tries to explore many fascinating aspects of human behavior and mental process, from the biological aspect to complex social interactions. So, you will see as you continue your journey through psychology, your goal will not be just to learn the facts, but to develop a new perspective that will enrich your understanding of yourself, of others, and of people around you. And this is not just for the short term, but for the long term and for all the interactions that you are going to make in the years to come. After studying psychology, you will never think about yourself, other people, and your relations with them in quite the same way as before. So, this really seems like a very promising statement. Let us see how we dive into this further. So, psychology as a field evolved through many years. So, in 1879, a person, Wilhelm Wundt, he established the first laboratory for psychological research at the University of Leipzig, Germany, focusing on structuralism and the study of consciousness through introspection. What is introspection? When you're trying to look within yourself, okay? When you're trying to understand how you are feeling, what you are going through. You're trying to look into yourself, okay? In the early 90s, John B. Watson advocates for behaviorism, arguing that psychology should study only those behavior that is observable and not only internal mental events. In the 1950s to 60s, the cognitive revolution begins as advances in technology provide new ways to study mental processes which were otherwise covert, not very visible. Because it was not visible, it was very tough to measure them. So now the cognitive revolution brings out new ways to study mental processes, expanding psychology's scope to include cognition. And in the present day, modern psychology embraces multiple perspectives. It takes on an eclectic approach and it defines itself as the science of behavior and cognitive process with growing emphasis on multicultural factors. So, this evolution reflects psychology's continuous growth and adaptation as a scientific field, expanding its boundaries to encompass more aspects of human experience while maintaining its commitment to scientific methods. So, as you see, psychology, after it developed into a discipline, again, there were diverse subfields within psychology. So, psychology as a subject encompasses many specialized areas, each focusing on different aspects of human behavior and mental process. So, you see, 43% of it mostly deals with clinical psychology, where we study diagnosis, causes, and treatment of mental disorders. Around 10% deals with counseling psychology, where counselors, psychotherapists, psychologists assist individuals with personal problems that don't involve psychological disorders. 5% deals with developmental psychology, where people study how people change physically, cognitively, and socially over the lifespan. About 6% study educational psychology, where the psychologist studies all aspects of the educational process. 14% is devoted to experimental psychology, which studies all basic psychological processes, including perception, learning, and motivation. 4% is dedicated to industrial or organizational psychology, which studies all aspects of behavior in work settings. 1% studies biopsychology, which investigates the biological basis of behavior, and 6% study the social psychology, which studies all aspects of social behavior and social thought. This diversity reflects the breadth of psychology's scope and its relevance to virtually every aspect of human experience. Now, since psychology developed as a scientific field and critical thinking or thinking critically is one of the aspect of scientific thought. Now, this is a very interesting, you can say, article that the author has referred to, where he talks about finding a relationship or a connection between chocolate and love. So, headlines in the late 1980s and early 1990s suggested that chocolate produced feelings similar to falling in love. The claims were based on studies showing three things. One, people who ate chocolate experienced positive feelings similar to those falling in love. Persons depressed by romantic rejections craved for chocolate. Chemical analysis showed chocolate contained substances similar to serotonin and dopamine, which plays roles in pleasure centers. Now, when a critical analysis was done, or when this was probed further, and a scientifically backed analysis was done on these 3 points that we discussed, it was found and further research revealed a more complex picture. So, what are the few things that were revealed in the further studies were chocolate also contains caffeine and substances linked to migraine headaches. Chocolate addicts often felt good briefly, but then felt depressed. So, the relief or the pleasure was temporary. Studies comparing chocolate bars, white chocolate, and cocoa in capsules showed the sensory experience of eating chocolate was more important than its chemical components. So, you see, as it was earlier believed that chocolate gives rise to only pleasurable feelings, further studies revealed that it is not so. There were some contrasting beliefs and research as well. So, critical thinking suggests that while there may be a link between chocolate and pleasant feelings for some people, the evidence is far from conclusive. The connection may depend more on people's liking for chocolate and associated positive feelings than on any chemical effects. Now, how we can apply psychology to everyday life? So, the knowledge and skills that we'll gain from studying psychology can be applied to many aspects of our daily life. So, first is critical thinking. So, we'll evaluate health claims, advertisements, and political arguments more carefully using our prowess of critical thinking. We'll try to look beyond emotional appeals to examine the evidence for it. Okay, so we have to look for the evidence in favor of the statement and against the statement. Then, understanding relationships. So, we can gain insights into our own behavior and that of others, improving our ability to communicate and resolve conflicts. Then, learning and memory. Can apply research based strategies to improve how we study and remember information in all areas of life. Then, it is also helpful in stress management, where we can use psychological techniques to better cope with stress and maintain mental well being. So, as we progress through this book, we'll see and we'll discover many more ways that psychological knowledge can enhance our understanding of ourselves and others, and it can provide practical benefits in numerous life situations. So, friends, in the next class, we'll begin with what is psychology, nature, goals, and approaches. I hope you like this video. If you are excited for the series, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and help our channel bring more such videos for you which are informative and makes learning fun. Thank you, friends. See you in the next episode.